Have you ever wanted to tell an interesting story in English but didn't know where to begin? What if by the end of today, you could share your own experiences with confidence?
Imagine talking to someone and keeping them interested from beginning to end. Today, we're going to practice the simple storytelling skills that make everyday English sound natural.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Podcast, where learning English becomes simple, practical, and fun. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jack. Welcome to Day 15 of our 30-Day English Shadowing Challenge. We've reached the halfway point, and that's something worth celebrating.
If you've been practicing with us since day one, you should be proud of yourself. Showing up every day and speaking English consistently is a big achievement.
It really is. Every practice session has made your listening, speaking, and confidence a little stronger. Those small daily steps create big results.
And if today is your first time joining us, we're so happy you're here. In this challenge, we improve English through a powerful method called shadowing.
If you haven't subscribed to Daily English Podcast yet, make sure you do. It's free, and you'll never miss another lesson in this challenge.
Now, let's talk about today's topic, because it's something you'll use almost every day when speaking English.
That's right. Day 15 is all about storytelling. Not fairy tales or movie stories, but the real stories you share in everyday conversations.
For example, when someone asks, "What happened today?" Or "How did you meet your friend?" Or "Can you tell me about your trip?" You're already telling a story.
Exactly. Even a funny moment at school, work, or while shopping can become a simple story in English.
Sounds like you have a few interesting stories yourself, Jack.
Oh, definitely. I've had some funny experiences that I'll share another day. They turned into great stories because they really happened.
And that's why today's lesson is so useful.
I agree. Storytelling can feel difficult for English learners, but with the right practice, it becomes much easier.
You've already completed 2 weeks of shadowing. Your listening is improving, your pronunciation is getting clearer, and speaking English is starting to feel more natural.
Today, we'll use all those skills to tell stories that sound smooth, interesting, and easy to understand.
As always, Jack and I will have a natural conversation. While you listen, your job is to shadow everything we say.
Listen carefully first, then repeat our words out loud with the same rhythm, emotion, and energy. That's how shadowing works best.
Don't stay silent. The more you speak, the faster your confidence grows, because your ears and your mouth learn together.
Perfect. So let's begin with the first question.
Jack, when we talk about storytelling in everyday English, what does it really mean? Many learners think it sounds difficult.
I think that's one of the biggest misunderstandings. Everyday storytelling is much simpler than most people imagine. A lot of learners think storytelling is only for writers or actors, but that's not true at all.
Exactly. We all tell stories every single day without even thinking about it.
When you tell someone about your dream, explain why you were late, or share what happened at dinner, you're already telling a story.
That's why storytelling is such an important speaking skill. It's part of normal, everyday conversations.
So today, we'll practice some easy storytelling phrases that native speakers use all the time.
And remember our shadowing method. Listen carefully, then repeat every phrase out loud with the same rhythm and feeling.
Let's start with our first expression.
The first phrase is "the other day." It's one of the most common ways to begin a casual story.
The moment people hear it, they know you're about to share something that happened recently.
Now, repeat after us. The other day.
Excellent. Our next phrase is, "You're not going to believe this, but..."
I really like this one because it makes people curious. Say it with us. You're not going to believe this, but...
Our third phrase is, And the thing is,
This tells your listener that an important detail is coming next.
it helps your story sound smoother and easier to follow.
Now repeat. And the thing is,
Here's another useful one. And then, out of nowhere,
we use this when something unexpected suddenly happens in the story.
it adds surprise and makes the story more exciting.
Say it together. And then, out of nowhere.
And our last phrase is long story short.
Jack, I have to say, you use this phrase all the time.
That's true. Sometimes my long story short still turns into a long story.
But it's a great phrase because it tells people you're getting to the main point.
Now, repeat after us. Long story short.
Fantastic. Now, let's hear these phrases in a real conversation.
Since everyone is ready, I'll tell you a funny story from my childhood.
Perfect. As Jack speaks, don't just listen. Shadow every sentence and copy his rhythm.
So, the other day, well, not really. This happened when I was about 7 years old.
Sounds interesting already.
My mom took me to a huge supermarket with several floors. Everything looked exciting, and I wanted to explore.
I can already guess this won't end well.
And the thing is, I noticed a big chocolate display and thought I'd only look for a few seconds.
A very confident 7-year-old.
You're not going to believe this, but I couldn't find my mom again for almost 45 minutes.
Oh no! That must have felt scary.
Every aisle looked exactly the same. I kept walking around and had no idea where I was.
I think many people can imagine that feeling.
Then, out of nowhere, I heard my name on the supermarket speakers, asking my mom to come to customer service.
I would have been so embarrassed.
I definitely was. I just wanted to hide.
So, how did it end?
Long story short, my mom found me sitting at customer service with a free biscuit in my hand.
At least you got a snack while you waited.
That's true. But after that day, I wasn't allowed to walk around by myself anymore.
What a great story. Did everyone notice how naturally Jack used almost all of today's phrases?
That's the secret. These expressions connect different parts of your story and make everything sound smooth.
Think of them as the framework of a story. Once you learn them, telling stories in English becomes much easier.
That was a great way to explain it. Now it's your turn, Sarah. We want to hear one of your stories.
Fair enough, but I should warn you, mine is even more embarrassing than yours.
Everyone, get ready to shadow Sarah's voice and rhythm.
So, the other day, well, it actually happened about 2 years ago. I was having dinner at a very fancy restaurant.
The kind where every dish comes with a long explanation from the waiter?
Exactly. I just smiled and nodded, hoping I understood everything.
Sounds like an important evening already.
It really was. I was there with my boss and some important clients, so I wanted to make the best impression possible.
No pressure at all.
Everything was going perfectly. I was polite, smiling, and saying all the right things. Then the food arrived, and I thought, relax. Eating dinner is the easy part.
Uh-oh. I don't like where this is going.
And then, out of nowhere, I picked up my fork and accidentally knocked over my glass of red wine.
Please don't tell me.
The wine spilled across the white tablecloth, and a little landed on my boss's sleeve. My boss started laughing instead of getting angry. He joked that at least everyone was awake now.
That must have made everyone feel more comfortable.
It really did. The whole table relaxed. Everyone laughed together, and the dinner became much more enjoyable.
So everything turned out better than expected?
Long story short, we had a wonderful meeting, And we even won the client in the end.
That's incredible! Maybe spilling the wine actually helped.
I wouldn't recommend trying it, though.
That ending was fantastic. I also noticed how calmly you told such a chaotic story.
That's one of my favorite storytelling tips. Stay calm while describing something crazy. It often makes the story even funnier.
I completely agree. That's a tip everyone should remember.
Now let's talk about what makes a story sound natural when you're practicing shadowing.
Good idea. If I had to choose the most important thing, I'd say it's emotion.
I agree. Don't read your story like a robot. Feel the excitement, surprise, or happiness in your voice.
When you feel those emotions, your listeners feel them too. That's what keeps people interested.
You'll also notice our voices change during the story. We speak faster in exciting moments and slower during serious ones.
That's called intonation, and shadowing is one of the best ways to practice it naturally.
Another important tip is learning to use pauses.
Exactly. Good storytellers don't rush. A short pause can make a moment much more powerful.
Many English learners worry that stopping means they've made a mistake.
But a confident pause actually shows you're in control of your story.
It gives your listener time to imagine what's happening before you continue.
One more tip that's supported by research: always include specific details.
Instead of saying, "I went to a restaurant," describe it. Was it elegant? Was the table covered with a white cloth? Those details create a clear picture.
The same happened in my supermarket story. I didn't just say I was young. I said I was 7 years old.
Small details make a story feel real, memorable, and much more enjoyable to hear.
And that's exactly why specific details are so powerful. They are actually much easier for people to understand than general words.
That's true. If someone says, "I was young," your brain has to imagine what that means. But saying, "I was 7 years old," creates a clear picture immediately.
Exactly. Being specific doesn't just make your story more interesting, it also makes your communication clearer.
Wow, I never looked at it that way before.
That's why I'm the researcher of this team.
Fair enough, Jack. I'll give you that one.
All right, everyone. Now it's time for our first shadowing practice of today.
Here's how it works. I'll tell you a short story, and you will listen first, then repeat it out loud. Try to copy my rhythm, my pauses, and the emotions behind the words. Ready? Let's begin. Last weekend, I went to visit my grandmother. She lives in a small house near a beautiful green park. When I arrived, she was sitting in her garden and drinking tea. She smiled when she saw me and said, "I knew you were coming. I made your favorite cake." And I thought, how does she always know? She always knows. That was a lovely little story, Jack. It was simple, but very natural.
Everyone, did you shadow it? Did you repeat the sentences out loud?
Let's try it one more time, but a little faster now. Follow my pace and keep speaking. Last weekend, I went to visit my grandmother. She lives in a small house near a beautiful green park. When I arrived, she was sitting in her garden drinking tea. She smiled and said, "I knew you were coming. I made your favorite cake." And I thought, how does she always know? She always knows. Great job. Now I'll share another story, but this time it has more energy.
Remember, don't just repeat the words, match the feeling and excitement in the voice.
Last Tuesday, I woke up late. Really late. I checked my phone and my heart almost stopped. I had an important meeting in 20 minutes and I was still lying in bed. I jumped up so quickly that I almost hit my head on the shelf. But somehow, I made it. I arrived only 2 minutes late, with coffee in my hand, acting like everything was completely normal. And honestly, nobody even noticed.
Did you feel the energy in Sarah's voice when she said, "My heart almost stopped"?
That small pause before an important word can make a story much more powerful.
This is what shadowing teaches you. Not only the words, but also the timing and space between those words.
Also, notice how I laughed at the end. When people tell funny or embarrassing stories, they often laugh at themselves.
It shows the listener that it's okay to enjoy the moment and laugh together.
Now let's talk about the structure behind a good story.
This is especially useful if you need to tell stories during job interviews, conversations, or daily chats.
Every good story, even a short one, usually has 3 simple parts.
Part 1 is the beginning. This is where you explain when it happened, where you were, who was there, and what was happening.
These details help your listener imagine the situation. Without them, the story can feel confusing.
Part 2 is the middle. This is where something changes. Maybe there is a problem, surprise, or unexpected moment.
This is the part that makes people think, what happened next?
Without a middle, you are only describing something. You are not really telling a story.
And part 3 is the ending. This is where everything comes together and the listener gets a final feeling.
A good ending can make someone laugh, feel happy, or be surprised.
Think about our earlier stories. My supermarket story had a beginning, a problem in the middle, and a funny ending.
And Sarah's restaurant story had the same structure. A fancy dinner, a surprising mistake, and a positive ending.
That's what makes stories memorable. They take people on a small journey.
I love that idea. Sometimes the biggest mistakes create the most interesting stories.
That's true. The best stories often come from moments we didn't plan.
That should be the motto of storytelling.
Okay, everyone, let's move to our second shadowing practice. This time, we'll practice the full 3-part story structure. Now let's practice everything we learned with one more complete story. Remember, focus on the beginning, the middle, the ending, and especially the emotions.
Listen carefully, then shadow the whole story. Copy the pauses, the feelings, and the way the story moves naturally.
A few months ago, I decided to try cooking a completely new recipe for the first time. It was a dish from a country I had never visited, with ingredients I had never used before. I felt very confident because I had watched the cooking video 3 times. I thought I knew exactly what I was doing. But halfway through cooking, I suddenly realized I had added salt instead of sugar. Not just a little salt, a lot of salt. The whole dish tasted completely different. I stood in my kitchen looking at the pot and thought, what am I going to do now? In the end, I ordered pizza. And honestly, it became the best pizza I had ever eaten. Because sometimes the funniest memories come from our biggest mistakes. Now, repeat this sentence with me. Nothing makes food taste better than the memory of your own terrible cooking.
Great job!
Now it's my turn. Everyone, shadow me and follow the full story structure.
Listen for the beginning, the problem in the middle, and the feeling at the end.
A couple of years ago, I decided I was finally going to learn how to ride a bicycle. I know what you're thinking. Most people learn as children, but somehow I never learned. One summer, I looked at myself and thought, okay, today is the day. my friend Mark came to help me. He was very patient and held the back of the seat while running beside me. He kept saying, "I've got you, I've got you." And slowly, I started moving forward. I was so excited because I was actually doing it. Then I noticed something. I heard his footsteps stop. He had quietly let go of the bicycle without telling me. I panicked for a second, but somehow I kept going. I didn't fall. I continued riding all the way to the end of the road. Then I turned around and saw Mark jumping and cheering for me.
That moment made you realize you were really doing it.
Exactly. I thought, wow, I am actually riding a bicycle.
Long story short, I cried a little because I was so happy.
Mark got emotional too, and we never really talked about that moment again.
That's actually a beautiful story, Jack.
Thanks, Sarah. I didn't expect it to become such a meaningful memory.
Everyone, did you notice how Jack's voice changed at the end?
The story started in a funny way, but it became something warm and emotional.
That change in your voice is also part of storytelling. Your emotions are not only in your words, but also in your tone.
Now, let's talk about some common mistakes people make when telling stories in English.
These mistakes happen even to advanced speakers. So don't worry if you recognize yourself.
The first mistake is speaking too quickly.
When people feel nervous, they often rush because they want to finish the story as soon as possible.
But speaking too fast makes your story harder to understand and can make you sound less confident.
The solution is simple. Slow down, breathe, and use natural pauses. A slower pace often sounds more confident and controlled.
The second mistake is using and then too many times. When every sentence starts with and then, the story can feel like a list instead of a real conversation.
Try using different connecting phrases, like suddenly, out of nowhere, or the next thing I knew.
These phrases give your story better rhythm and make people interested.
The third mistake is not giving enough information at the beginning.
Some learners start in the middle of a story, and the listener doesn't know where they are or who is involved.
Take a few seconds to explain the situation first. Tell people when, where, and who.
Just like a movie shows the place and characters before the action starts.
All right, everyone, we are almost at the end of today's episode.
I love that ending.
Me too.
Now, here's your homework. Think of one short story from your own life.
It can be funny, surprising, or even a little embarrassing. Use the phrases we practiced today.
Try phrases like the other day, the thing is, out of nowhere, and long story short.
You can tell your story in front of a mirror, record your voice, or practice while walking.
The most important thing is to say it out loud. That's where real learning happens.
And if you want to share your story with us, leave it in the comments. We love reading your practice stories.
If this episode helped you, don't forget to like the video.
It helps more English learners find our podcast.
And if you haven't subscribed to Daily English Podcast yet, make sure you subscribe.
We'll be back tomorrow with day 16.
Keep practicing, keep showing up, and remember,
English is easy. English is enjoyable.
and you are doing amazing. See you tomorrow, everyone.